It began with silence, as all deep space encounters do. Then came the anomaly, small at first, subtle, barely enough to trigger an alert in Voyager 1's ancient systems. But it was real. Something out there had changed. Voyager 1, drifting in the interstellar void over 15 billion miles from Earth, detected objects moving through the cosmic dark in ways that defied every known law of physics. At first, the data suggested noise, instrument error perhaps, or cosmic rays dancing chaotically across its sensors. But it wasn't random. The patterns repeated. Trajectories aligned. Shapes emerged. These were not asteroids. They weren't comets or icy debris left from the solar system's birth. These were structured, moving, controlled. The propulsion, or lack thereof, was the first major shock. Voyager detected no ion trails, no bursts of plasma, no signs of traditional movement. Yet the Doppler data didn't lie. These objects were accelerating, shifting directions without inertia. Some even surpassed the calculated escape velocity of the Milky Way itself, an impossible feat by human standards. They moved like they were skating on invisible rails. They didn't drift through space. They navigated it. With intention. With control. Theorists began to speculate. Could this be manipulation of spacetime? Some kind of gravitational surfing? Was this the first real glimpse of faster-than-light travel, or something even stranger? Dr. Caleb Ramirez at MIT was among the first to say what others were too afraid to. They're not just flying. They're gliding on a medium we don't yet understand. These weren't ships in the traditional sense. They were like shadows riding on the surface of space itself, using a technology or a law of nature that humanity had never observed before. Theoretical physicist Elena Reyes described it as bending the vacuum, a propulsion method not built on thrust, but on shifting the very stage on which physics performs. It wasn't warp drive. It wasn't antimatter. It was something else, something more elegant, more ancient, and infinitely more advanced. Back on Earth, things got stranger. Amateur radio operators, enthusiasts with backyard antennas and vintage receivers, began picking up odd signals. Not just static. Patterns. Pulses. Rhythmic transmissions that didn't match any known frequency used by satellites or ground-based stations. At first, it seemed like coincidence. After all, radio interference occurs all the time. But then the timing matched. The strongest bursts occurred precisely during the hours when Voyager 1 recorded its most unusual activity. These weren't just local disruptions, they were echoes, whispers, as if something beyond was reaching through the dark of space into our atmosphere. These were no ordinary transmissions. The signals weren't powerful, but they repeated. Some reflected off the ionosphere at improbable angles. Others ended midstream, as if they were never intended to be received. And yet they returned, with mathematical consistency. Some recurred every 72 hours, like precision clockwork. Intervals based on prime numbers. Fibonacci sequences woven into the timing. When analyzed by advanced AI systems, harmonic patterns surfaced, layers of structure like music suggesting intent, design, and possibly intelligence. A team of researchers in Switzerland, originally studying whale songs and ancient musical scales, ran the pulses through their acoustic models. What they found was chilling. The signals contained harmonics resembling those found in prehistoric instruments, tones too deliberate to be accidental. It was as if the universe itself was expressing a voice we had long forgotten how to recognize. Not a language made of words, but one of resonance. A message crafted from the very mathematics that shape reality. NASA began to pay close attention. Some public data feeds were gradually redirected. Certain deep space channels became quiet. Within the agency, engineers noticed another anomaly. Voyager's power systems were experiencing slight, unexplained surges. Not enough to change its course. Not enough to affect its instruments. But enough to raise eyebrows. As though something or someone was reaching out to the spacecraft. Not interfering. Not controlling. Just making contact. Speculation spiraled. Had Voyager become a relay? Was it unknowingly transmitting messages between Earth and something beyond our reach? Some insiders began referring to the anomaly as an active unknown. Not just an object, Not just a signal, but something capable of responding, of adapting. That term changed everything. An active unknown redefined the mission. It reframed the cosmos not as an empty sea, but as a vast, living system watching us as closely as we watched it. Questions erupted across agencies. Could the signals be weaponized? Was someone or something testing Earth's defenses, probing our awareness? Intelligence officials grew nervous. If amateur operators could detect fragments of this transmission, what could rival powers hear? Was Earth alone in listening, or part of something much larger? NASA's public voice grew quiet. Updates became vague. Internal investigations ramped up. Old telemetry from past missions was reanalyzed. Had this happened before? Had we simply missed it? Or worse, ignored it? In shadowed conference rooms and late-night secure calls, officials debated how to proceed. Disclose? Deny? Wait? Because if Voyager 1 had indeed touched something out there, if it had brushed against a mind or machine that wasn't ours, then we were no longer observers of the universe. We had become participants, engaged, involved. The signals have not stopped. The pulses continue, repeating like a heartbeat across the stars. And Voyager keeps listening. It drifts onward into the dark, carrying with it not just the memory of Earth, but now a thread, an active connection to something unknowable. The question is no longer, what did Voyager find? The question now is, who found Voyager? And more importantly, what comes next?